These next 2 weeks, we're going to be exploring personalized learning. In the best of times, this is a um, difficult concept for most people to get their minds around. How do we actually do this personalization of learning? In our current reality, it's going to be a bit more challenging, but I wanted to give you some things to think about as we go through the next couple of weeks with personalized learning and see what your thoughts are. I actually wanted to explore the essential questions with you as we kind of think through this particular module. I think looking at the essential questions really gives us the backdrop for what we are going to be talking about and where our greatest challenges lie in terms of implementation of personalization of learning in our current semester. Um, One of the things I want us to think about is that anything we do should be focused on getting us better student outcomes, not the opposite. And so I think we have to think about how we personalize learning in order to increase student achievement, not just as a feel good exercise. Um, I think that is crucial. How can we do this in an online environment, or worse, if you're just doing some kind of distance learning activities with your students, trying to keep them afloat for the rest of the semester? And how in the heck are we going to be able to monitor student mindset, whether they're engaged or what their attitude is on a daily basis, uh, now that you don't really have eyes on them in any meaningful way? So I think that those present some interesting challenges as you begin to think about the personalization of learning. Think about how that looks to you. How does that feel to you? How are you dealing with this current reality of not being able to see or listen to your students in a daily basis? So, to craft effective personalization of learning, we have got to develop student agency. In other words, we've got to provide opportunities for students to have choice and for students to have voice. Whether in person or online, student agency still has to be our goal. How do we shift the responsibility of learning to the learner? And how do we give them some element of choice? How do we give them voice in what's going on? How are you guys restructuring learning experiences right now to encourage or promote that student choice? Are you giving choices in assignments? Are you giving choices in um, uh, outcomes? Can they do different kinds of assessment? And what percent of the time do you think students get a voice in their learning experiences? And what about assignments? What amount of voice are they getting in? In other words, what inputs do they have into what's going on? And by the way, I'll make an editorial comment right here that the structure of our university classes is not uh, a very good model, by the way, for student voice and student choice. We gave you one choice assignment at the beginning, but your voice, we never get to hear student voice in saying, what I really wish we could explore is, or I wish we could spend more time on, etc. So I will cop to the fact that I realize that we're not modeling this very well, but I do want you to think about it in your own environment and what you think you could be doing to promote it. And finally, and this one's tough, what is the role of student profiles in developing effective lesson design? It's a very complex question. How do you create an individual profile? If you're a high school teacher or a middle school teacher, you may see anywhere up to 150 students or more per day. How do you actually develop those student profiles? So I want to know what your ideas are for being able to know your students better. How would you go about creating that student profile? What are your thoughts on this? What are your ideas? Um, what questions would you want answers to if you were asking kids to develop their own profile for you? And then finally, what would change if you were to know new truths about your students? How would you react to that? What would you do with that information? How would it affect the structure of your lesson design, etc.? So just explore this. I'm not asking for you to explore it by a written paper or anything else, but I want you to explore it mentally, and I want you to think about it. If you've got great ideas about this, share them in the discussion board with your colleagues, because I think having a real honest dialogue about some of this is really helpful. These are complex um, ideas and really tough to pull off right now in your current reality, but do be thinking about how you might go about this in our hopefully restructured normalcy that will be coming maybe to a theater near you. Finally, as always, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know via email. I'll get back to you ASAP. Um, don't stress out. I think we know that this is not an easy task that you're undertaking right now. None of your realities are anything like you imagined this semester would be right now. None of your experiences are what you believe you signed up for. So please give yourself some slack. Um, do everything you can do, but don't do what you cannot do. You're not supposed to be miracle workers. You're just trying to maintain some level of educational experience for our kids as they try to round out the wackiest semester that hopefully we'll all ever see in our lives. Let me know if you need anything, and I will get back to you. Thanks.